All we've taken away
that's
is
the only
can't
thing.
stand Dunkin' Donuts and just loves illegal streams.
No, I don't actually.
You have a
I
Nessun
play for
cup
you.
there too. Trent Frederic, Pete wrote this question. Did you know you'd made it when Alex Ovechkin hit you in the penis? I wrote that question.
Yeah. Jeez. I don't know if I knew I made it, but I remember it was a COVID year, and Jack Sadnika lived above me in the apartment complex we were living at, and we kind of made the joke like, "Geez, that was Alex Ovechkin." Like it's still cool, even though you don't want that to happen to yourself. It was at least cool. It was him, I guess.
That had to have been so cool because that also in the moment, I'm sure you go down and then you get up and you're like, but then there's like a week worth of news. Like the next day, they're like, Alex Ovechkin might have a hearing for hitting Trent Frederic in the penis. And then like 2 days later, he's been fined. And I don't know if I saw that, if I saw my name, I guess, attached to Alex Ovechkin that many times at that point in my career, I'd be like, damn.
If somebody's going to do it, it may as well be somebody cool.
Yeah, I guess. What was craziest for how hard he shoots it, it didn't hurt, so I had some good protection, I guess. But
we are, I don't know if you remember this, but last year when we started doing the show, we came in and we were talking to some guys that we knew, and I think I stopped covering the team right as you were coming in, so I didn't really know you too well, but we were like, hey, at some point, we'd love to have you on this show. We joke around. You'd be perfect because we love all your mic'd up stuff.
I'll go you. Hey, why don't you go me?
And you were like, oh, fucking hell. How do you feel about the mic'd up stuff?
Yeah, I don't like wearing it personally. But you know, we have the show Behind the B, and it's, I think, part of it just to take your turn and do it. I joke with our PR Travi that I think they have me mic'd up more than anyone, so that's probably why you see more content. But I usually put up a good fight. But the mic has been hot recently, so sometimes the mic can be a good thing. If you're in a slump, you need it. But I don't like hearing my voice too much.
I get not liking it so much, but like for a guy who doesn't like being mic'd up, I was going to say you're either mic'd up an awful lot or every time you are mic'd up, it's make electric gold. So are you kind of like cursed with clearly being good at that?
Yeah, I don't know why people like it. Like I said, I probably get mic'd up maybe 10 times a year, 7 to 10 times a year. So, yeah, I actually like to think I'm less talkative, especially at the beginning. And then after a little bit, the game gets going, you forget you're wearing it. And I've got some last cuts, so there's some stuff. Now I get them where I've had some stuff taken out for sure. But early on, I don't know if I ever got the last cut. So there's been some times where I'd be like, can you please take that one out?
It seemed like at the time you didn't hate PK Subban. It just seemed like you were fucking with PK Subban. Do you hate PK Subban now? Because you're like, that one night where I just happened to have the gold.
All right, do another post that workout video. Post that workout video, you loser. I'm in your kitchen 7'6". Woo!
Now I'm mic'd up for the rest of my life.
No, I don't hate PK. Actually, I don't know him personally. I think what he's doing, watching him, what is he with ESPN? Maybe
ESPN,
he does a good job. And no, I don't hate PK. He might hate me. I don't really know, but no, I don't mind PK.
I'll say this: I think his frequency of workout videos being posted to Instagram went down after you got mic'd up.
Yeah, that's tough because a lot of people post those now, and I feel like that was a newer thing. And I know I have a trainer that I work with in the summer, and he's growing a great company, and that's what he does. So
and you're like, now I can't post any workout videos because this one video on the internet exists.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I posted a workout video. I don't really know. I kind of forget it. That I guess I'd be a hypocrite for that. But
I think the part of the reason why you're probably mic'd up more than anybody else is like endearingly, you start shit. Like you are kind of annoying, right, to play against. Like, at least that's my take on it, and that probably leads to a lot of gold being mic'd up. Do you pride yourself in being like kind of a shit stirrer?
I don't really think of myself as that. I don't know how. There's a lot of more clever guys out there that say funnier stuff, and I remember playing in the AHL. There was a kid using some lines, and I realized I used it against him because it was something that sometimes when you say stuff, it might be a chirp at your own teammate. For instance, maybe if I'm chirping someone about their hair and you got Fliggy on the bench, he's not going to like that either. But so you got to always keep that stuff in mind.
We also did an interview with Nick, and like 3 minutes into it, I think we made a ball joke. So his energy exudes like we're joking around here kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so he's the fucking best.
He's a great guy, and he's a good looking bald guy. He's got good kids, and
he also.
So.
It's better to be like I'm bald than be like, no, I have hair, and everybody's like, no, brother, you're bald. You just haven't admitted it yet.
Yeah.
He also assisted you on the sickest shift a hockey player has ever had that night against the Kings, where I think you were tied and you scored 2 goals the same shift.
Oh yeah,
that play behind the net that he made to you, and your finish was insane. What was it like playing with him?
Yeah, it was great. I always enjoyed playing with Fliggy. He's very like talkative, as you know, and some games, if you're not getting the minutes that you're not playing those crazy minutes, you kind of have to be talkative, and sometimes part of the rule is maybe being a little bit of a cheerleader. And playing with Fliggy, he's so talkative, and you always know where he is, and he makes the game really easy. So there's a reason why he was named captain in Chicago, and there's a reason why he's been a captain kind of everywhere he went.
Pete mentioned you being a bit of a shit at times on the ice. Famously, your basement housed 6 first-round picks. You, the Tkachuks, I'm going to get this, Logan Brown, Luke Kunin, and is that all 6 of them? Oh, Clayton Keller.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, all of you, if there's stories out there, you all played like floor hockey in your basement and you rough each other up and everything. Did you, especially like you and the Tkachuks, I would say, like, did you kind of teach each other how to be that type of kind of asshole?
I don't know about that. But yeah, we played a lot of hockey together, and a lot of basement and street hockey. And I think Luke Cunnin's like, I don't know why. I would say maybe it's a St. Louis thing. Guys play a little bit harder and more on the edge. And now that you kind of name it, I don't really know the reason for that. I had an older brother, and that's mostly where I think I've gotten like the competitive edge, and maybe I've been beaten up enough down there that it's hard to have someone else do something on the ice that my brother hasn't done to me. So that's kind of the mindset I have. And I was lucky that my parents, they just let us play and let us be. Unless there was blood, they weren't really coming down. But there's definitely a couple of times I remember, with my rollerblades, maybe went a little bit too far and running upstairs to get a little extra height at some point when I was younger.
Rollerblades in the basement?
Yeah, we had unfinished basement, and we just had, it started as like old couches and stuff, and that we kind of made into boards, and like there's concrete, and obviously the poles are a little bit in the way, or we had one pole in the way, and then we end up building some wooden like boards, and we had like a little mini rink, so it was pretty legit.
How high are the ceilings?
Yeah.
Because you're getting elevated, and you're not a small guy, and obviously like Brady's not a small guy, and Brown's not a small guy.
Yeah, we were small then, but during COVID, actually, we would play me, Ryan McInnes, my brother. I'm trying to think, maybe Logan was there too. That we actually played inside there. We do play one-on-one, but it was so small. It was fun. It was small, and
the idea
it was a little bit
NHL
different.
Players playing in an unfinished basement.
Yeah, like with
amazing.
rollerblades, and my rollerblades are terrible. I'm actually trying to. I don't really rollerblade much, but mine were terrible. And I remember my brother wasn't playing. I threw on his, and I was way better. He must have better blades. Yeah, I think it's something with the traction, but it was fun, and I think that helped us during the COVID time when you couldn't really ski on the ice.
What was the most violent thing to happen in the basement?
Violent. I mean, we cracked our head, a couple of cracked heads. I got stitches here. That was actually from Brady. My mom she brought down one of those like a Home Depot, or like now it's like a Gatorade jug.
Mm-hmm.
And because she didn't want everyone coming up with their skates. So we would just drink out of that. And, it's concrete, it's unfinished. And so it was like late at night, like maybe like 1 a.m. in the morning. We had practice the next day. So everyone was sleeping in my house, and we poured all the water out on the concrete, that jug. I don't know why. And, we had a window, and it was blocked with wood. So we wouldn't break it and stuff. And when we were running around just hitting each other, no helmets, and it's so slick with the blades. And Brady hit me, and just I remember getting these stitches and waking up my mom, and she was pretty upset. But I mean, there's a lot of stories. My buddies can tell more of them. What stunk for me was I'd end up playing goalie a lot, and we would play like it would be like 2-on-0. I'd be the goalie, but my brother would still dump it in, so I'd have to play it so he could hit me.
Jesus Christ!
But it was really fun, and we made so many games out there. We played. The ceiling isn't high, but we would play like wiffle ball. We'd play soccer down there, and obviously a lot of hockey.
Do you think that you would be like a different type of player if it weren't for that basement? And like if you were, because just every day, just like beating each other up, that has to mean like when you go somewhere else, you take that behavior there, right?
Yeah, I think a little. I mean, I still give like my brother like a lot of credit. Like he'd have all of his buddies over. They were 3 years older. And so we played a lot of sports, mostly obviously hockey down there. So I'd give that to him. I wish he wouldn't have put me in goal so much. I would maybe have better hands and stuff. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I would get it from. Like, I think I've told this story before to someone, but like it got to a point where we builded these, it was called the St. Louis Bandits. It was a NHL team. So we had 2 kids living at our house. And so they knew me and my brother fought like all the time. And so it got to the point where we were getting bigger. We had the boxing, my mom would just put the boxing gear on. So we had the helmets, the tap out mouth guard, and the actual boxing gear. And it got to a point where we were fighting every day, but because we were mad at each other playing, but whatever. And then it got to a point where their whole team would come over and we'd be fighting actually in their room. They'd be like giving us intro music, and we'd be boxing, and I'm sure they were betting on us. I don't know. We were pretty young, but so I think that came in where you kind of lose the fear of that stuff a little bit.
Was helmet? I don't know if helmet boxing is still a thing, but
like locker boxing.
Yeah, like you. Sean's nodding. Yes, yeah. Sean apparently did it. Like where you wear the hockey helmet, the gloves, and like as I think about it, I'm cringing because I'm like, yeah, that's just like seriously, that's just fucking like a recipe for children to get concussions. But like, were you like that type of thing going down?
No, we never did. I've definitely been a locker boxing happening. I never personally did that. To me, I don't know. I always thought that was kind of dumb. I don't know if the boxing gloves and helmet were better, but I never actually personally locker box because just with the cage and stuff, you get hit.
I was like youth hockey. I was afraid to like check or do anything like that, but I would do everybody would do that after, which is so dumb.
I feel like too, it's different. Like me and my brother would fight quite a bit. Now we're like best friends, and we are best friends, and it's different beating up on your brother versus like maybe a random kid. Like I was never a kid to fight at school or anything like that, but it's just different. You can beat up your brother, you can't beat up other people and you get their parents involved. But so I never really fought other than really fighting my brother, and he was a lefty too, so that was interesting.
Did you fight your brother for like everything, or was it just sports?
Just sports. Honestly, just like competing. No, we were pretty good in that sense. And when we would fight, like we'd be mad at each other for a couple minutes, and then we would continue on, and it was like no big deal. Mm-hmm. The last time we actually fought, we didn't get the boxing gloves on, and I can actually remember he got me like too good that it scared him, and we were getting to an important age where 3 years can become an area where it's a way bigger gap in size and stuff. But
how did Clayton Keller hold up down there?
Kells came over. I mean, we shot pucks down there. It wasn't always my buddies weren't like fighting. I feel like when you go,
I don't believe that. I just I know that you're explaining it very well, but I'm just thinking, I'm like, just knowing how kids are and knowing how the Tkachuks are and knowing how you are.
Like I mean, so like in my house, it would always be me and my brother that would get in a fight, and you always make it can be a little bit awkward for the friends that are sitting there being like, all right, like most of the time my parents didn't come down, they didn't really care. But like for instance, the Tkachuks, they would do like shinny hockey, and they would fight. When they would fight each other, it was always a little awkward, like in the sense of like, all right, well, and then you kind of continue playing. And so I could, from watching them when they would do it, and when me and my brother did it, it was always a little awkward being the guest of someone else's house, but it's just how it works.
Hey, thanks for watching the channel.
We appreciate everybody who checks out our stuff, but 80% of our viewers are not actually subscribed to this page, so if you could smash that subscribe button, it would go a very long way for us.
The more subscriptions we have, the more visibility we get from YouTube, which allows us to do more.
So press that button. Thank you. Did you ever end up in those times crossing paths with Lee Stempniak? Because he was staying, I want to say his first year in St. Louis was staying with the Tkachuks. And I remember him saying like, yeah, I'd play hockey with like these little kids and now like they're getting drafted in a couple of years or whatever. This was as they were coming up. Like I'm pretty sure you played with him in Boston, right?
Yeah, I played with Stempy. For me, majority, I don't know if we maybe played a couple games in Boston, but I was mostly in Providence and he was down there, and he's a great guy. And yeah, I remember, like, I can't remember where I, have met him, but I feel like I've known him for eternity now. But so it's pretty cool to become his teammate and actually really get to know him. So.
The St. Louis thing is just very, very cool. Not to even mention like the Jason Tatum of it all. Like there's all of these incredible NHL players just all coming up at the same time. Sick.
Yeah, as well.
Where do you feel like you're at this point in your career? Because like you're still relatively young. It's your seventh season, I believe. But you're also like now you're considered a leader. You wear an A in preseason, and you're like the fifth longest tenured Bruin. So does it feel weird to be kind of in the middle there?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that was the fifth longest. That's cool to know. But no, I mean, I still feel like we've had such an older team for so long. I still feel like I'm young. I still feel like I'm a bit of a rookie still. And I don't know. My whole career from college, I was a freshman. I was a sophomore to Providence to here. I was always one of the younger guys or one of the rookies. So that's kind of all I've known. And I kind of think I like to act the same way. And but it is weird. Like a bunch of people have called me like a veteran this year, and I don't really know if that feels right or sounds
not ready
right.
for it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I'm just going to continue to be myself, and obviously it helps. Like your way around, and all the people and the staff, and now a lot of the drills and stuff, so you can help out in ways. But I still feel like every day I'm still fighting for a job. So it's good in ways because you're comfortable. I get to move back into my place, and I don't have to lug around as much stuff every summer. So it's good.
It's like, but also like as you get older and like you find out, or like as you're growing up, more and more things happen to you that you're like, oh, now I'm an adult. Oh, now I'm doing this. Like even if you still feel like you're still making like you got UFA coming up, like that is like some real veteran stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I mean, to think that this will be my 7th year is pretty crazy. I feel like it's gone by a lot faster. And there's times where it was slower. And then when you look back, like, I guess that was a while ago. It's very weird to like, my youngest brother's going to be a senior in college. He's turning 22 in 3 days or something. It's very weird to be like, I started this process at 20 years old. In February I turned 20, and then in March I signed with the Bruins. So think like you're so young then, but at the time you don't really think that. And to see my living habits my first year versus now, it's pretty funny.
I was gonna ask like, do you look back on some of the things that you did when you were younger, whether it was like in training or living habits, where you're like, what a fucking idiot?
Yeah, I mean, I look at a lot of stuff. I mean, I held my first stick when I turned pro. I was like, what was I doing with this thing? Like everything was bad about it. But even like stuff, how I ate, like I remember my first year in Providence. I was like, I think I got sent down late maybe, or I was like one of the last cuts maybe, or I can't remember how it went down, but everyone kind of already had their roommates and stuff. So I was kind of like, all right, I'll get my own place. And first place I saw, I was like, yeah, this is good, whatever. Rented furniture, and I didn't even have a window. I had one window and it was blocked by another brick wall, like, 5 feet away. So I got no natural lighting. I never got Wi-Fi. I never bought food there. I would just go over to other people's houses every day. And for breakfast, I picked up Dunkin' Donuts every day. And it was just like,
Jesus.
Yeah, it wasn't maybe great for me, but I didn't know, I was kind of my first time, even in college, you're on your own, but, I had roommates, and so So like that first year was a huge to look back and be like, geez, I can't even look at a Dunkin' Donuts sandwich anymore. So it's kind of funny to see how you evolve. Just like that's just on the health side of it. But
I say all the time, the item of food that everyone has had the most, despite not thinking it's good at all, is a breakfast sandwich from Dunkin' Donuts. Like I've probably had, from your habits, like hundreds of them without ever being like, damn,
Can't wait for the next one.
this hits. It
Yeah.
makes you feel bad, and yeah.
yeah.
Sponsored by Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean,
but
everything around here is.
America runs on Dunkin'. You has your like NHL career gone, I guess, the way you thought it would? Because I remember when they drafted you, 29th overall, I believe, after when they announced your pick, they were like, yeah, we're really excited about him. He plays like a really physical style. We think he'll be like a really good third line player. And the reaction in Boston was like, what the fuck? You're drafting a guy thinking he's going to be a third line player. And then, I don't know if it was at the rookie camp or whatever, like, once people saw you, they were like, oh, okay. Like, this isn't like we're hoping to, like, fill out our bottom six. It's like, this guy is going to be very, very difficult to play against. So, do you remember that? And has it kind of unfolded the way you thought it would?
Yeah, I mean, when I got drafted, I was just super excited to get drafted in the NHL and to the Boston Bruins. At the time, you just like want your name called, right? And then once it gets called, you're like, wow, I got very fortunate that I got picked to Boston. And I don't like, I had Twitter at that time. So like I would see stuff. I was young. I would see stuff, but I was in college and I was just like kind of enjoying college. I thought was playing well there. So it didn't really matter what I did. I don't think anyone was thinking I'm good, but that's fine. I mean, that's kind of how it's been majority of my life. And it didn't really affect me. But yeah, I mean, I guess right now I've pretty much played third line, so I guess they might be hitting that on the head. I mean, that's just like, if you look at a team, and I guess in the first round, everyone thinks like you're drafting a 40 goal scorer, like a McDavid or whoever in the first round. But at the end of the day, like it's really hard to make the NHL, and at the end of the day, it's about making the NHL. And just for my mindset was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make it, and from there, once I get in the door, I'm gonna just keep working and try to get into more and more roles and get better and better. And that was kind of the mindset I took. I think if you take the other mindset that you're just gonna like go and be like the first line, center or wing or whatever the heck, like that's just majority of the times that's not how it works, especially like a great organization like Boston. Like there's not many positions open. You got to find a niche to get in the door, and from there, show them what you got and kind of keep working up.
It's it's an NFL draft like mindset applied to the NHL draft, where NFL draft, you hope in the first round you get like a Pro Bowler, whereas in the NHL, no disrespect to anybody who's been drafted, like once you get outside of the top 10 picks because of how difficult it is to project, like if you get an NHL player, you're like that is a hit of a pick, let alone a guy who has like a long career and is as difficult to play against as you've been.
Do you think about your ceiling at all, or is it just like I'm looking 2 feet in front of me and doing the work that needs to be done today, or do you like project yourself at all?
I mean, I don't really look at it like you have a ceiling. I don't really know if anyone does. But no, I honestly just every day I try to get better, and I try to learn a little bit. The more and more I've played, I've become more of like learning about hockey. I feel like when I was younger, I watched a lot of hockey, but then I got to college, like I watched a lot of football. Now I watch more hockey. I learn from what other people are doing. And when you're younger, I feel like you just watch all the highlights and you're like, you think if you see all the highlights, it looks like an easier game. Like even when you make a play, like, oh, it's easy to get an assist, but there's so much that leads up to that. And like actually watching hockey and watching the guys and seeing how much people fail in a game, and the success rate is obviously lower of how many plays you make in a game and stuff. So I don't know, it's all very interesting, and I think the more and more I've got into this, the more and more I've like loved hockey and learned more about it. So
what do you like about like the league in its current state where we're at, and like what do you think needs to be improved upon?
I mean, I don't know. For me, like watching hockey, it's actually can be hard, like to find games and stuff. I've bought the NHL like package or whatever on my cable, but for some people I know have a hard time like just watching a hockey, and like if you go to watch a football game, it's fairly easy. If you watch a basketball game, it's very easy. I feel like hockey is not as accessible in both playing it and obviously watching it. I know playing it, there's a lot of expenses in it and stuff, and that's, I don't know, I'm going to let someone else try to figure that out. But for actually watching it, it can be sometimes difficult. Like I just remember like, I think a couple of years ago, I was hurt and like I was like blacked out and like, not my head.
No,
the game was the screen was black. Like I was having a hard time, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know if I can say this, illegally streaming our game because I can't get it on the TV because I'm hurt and I'm at home. I'm trying to watch it. And I'm like, I can't even figure out how to watch an NHL game. So I think that part of it, even like watching my buddies, it can be hard to watch them.
You always want a player who's not afraid to bend the rules, who just plays on that line. Will he legally stream a game if he needs to?
I don't know if it was illegal, but I was like, couldn't figure out how to watch it. And I've gotten better at it now that I got cable and stuff. But
So
All we've
I'm
taken
like,
away
that's
is
the only
can't
thing.
stand Dunkin' Donuts and just loves illegal streams.
No, I don't actually.
You have a
I
Nessun
play for
cup
you.
there too.
Yeah, no, I figured it out more now, but I feel like sometimes like even my parents will be talking, they like have the hardest time watching our games. So I don't really know. That's a big critique, I guess, but that's something I think just promoting the game. If it's on the TV more and more, I think the more and more people watch it, the more and more people like hockey. I just feel like it's not exposed enough to people.
And you're a few years younger than us, but whenever that happens with me, my first thought is like, I should know how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So if I don't know how to, if it's not intuitive for me, what is it for somebody 10 years older than me, or God forbid, as old as me and not as smart as me? Like, what are those poor people doing? Because this should be easy and idiot proof. So I get that.
Yeah. Like my dad's not tech savvy at all, but he has got some trouble, I think, watching some of the games, but they figured it out now. But I just think sometimes it can be too hard.
Sean's our guy for streams. When we're like, we can't find this thing, we want to watch this game, Sean's our guy. We're going to blur that out, though, so we don't get Sean sent away. Do you know TJ Watt? Did you cross paths at all?
No, I didn't. I had a class with his now wife, and she came in one day wearing all Steelers stuff. And so I was like, oh, I guess she's dating TJ Watt, who just got drafted. But no, that's the only story. I don't really know him, but everything I heard, he's a good guy.
Are you a big college football guy?
I am. I like to watch it. Obviously,
how are you
Wisconsin.
watching the games?
I have cable. Cable. It's easy to watch college football. It's easier to watch college football than it is NHL hockey. That's for sure. That would be
so funny if you were like, yeah, I was. And then I can't figure out my TV.
No, I've got cable. I pay too much for it. And
thing, like there's a thing in the upper right. What's the circle with the line through it? God, no.
Yeah. You sitting in an empty apartment with no light and your TV doesn't work.
I'm telling you, it's easier to watch Wisconsin play, I don't know, an
unranked team.
Unranked team.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Akron State or some random school. I don't know if that's a school or not to rip that school, but it's easier to watch them play than it would be to find some of these NHL games. And that's just, for me, I don't know, maybe not for everyone.
Pete went to Akron State, actually.
Yeah, it's tough.
It was very tough for him.
Unnecessary straight to catch there, but no, I did not.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you, Trent. We've wanted to have you on this podcast since we started it, and it's very nice of you that you put up with us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
We all silly like the mayor.